Hello and welcome to Her Embodied Stories. I'm back on the British soil and I thought I'll share some of my reflections with you on the Virgo season. And new moon is coming up on Tuesday the 7th, and it's a really good time for a new beginning. And because it's an earth season, it's an earth sign, Virgo. It's a solid new beginning, and Virgo brings her practical and methodical approach to optimizing our life, so we can use it to really reflect on our day-to-day life, our work schedule, and the focus is really on the mental and physical health, so we can really optimize how we spend time, how we take care of our bodies, our minds, and anything that has that sort of spiritual aspect to it. So for example, body, mind, soul connection through yoga would be something really suitable here. But any devotional practice. And so I'll say more about Virgo, but I just want to name the themes that I want to sort of touch on today, and they all relate to Virgo, and these are discernment, embodiment, devotion, and grounding. And I'll explore them a little bit as we go along. I want to say a word about Virgo, and as all signs, there is lower and higher expression of the sign, and in the higher expression, let's start there. Virgo brings this embodied, detailed, organized, discerning, devoted energy that really allows us to take care of ourselves, our lives, and also from the place of fullness to be of service to other people. So this is a really beautiful and very helpful expression of Virgo. Then we have this lower expression, we could say even shadowy expression of Virgo, which is quite critical, seeks perfection, very detailed, nitpicking even, and we can do a lot of that to ourselves and to other people. There's a lot of being not quite happy with how things are, and what else, and in this energy we can become very insecure, and then what we do often is we overcompensate our shortcomings, or what we see as our shortcomings. So then we may take on more work, we may overwork, we may overstretch ourselves, and our nervous system, that's also related to Virgo. And this lower sort of aspect of this expression is really connected with our conditioning, how we were brought up in the societies where being efficient, being practical, being pragmatic, being on the go, doing, effective, these are the values of the society. These are the collective expectations, and unfortunately most of us live through them, we live them without even knowing sometimes that that's what we do. And well, you see, in Her Embodied Stories, we sort of explore these structure, this conditioning, these ways that we take for granted, and we call them the patriarchal sort of values. And it's related both to men and women. We all live in this sort of productive society, and through exploring these beliefs, these structures, these stories, we really get to know our ways of disconnecting from ourselves, how we've learned to do that, how we were actually expected to do that, to follow and obey and be loyal to the outer authority rather than to the inner authority. And Virgo says your inner authority is within your body. Your body is the sort of the temple from which you could organize your life from, and from where you can get intuitive messages and valuable advice. And so Virgo here says, okay, so you've got all these conflicting expectations. There may be your needs and there may be expectations of the society. And how do we discern? How do we decide what is good for me and what isn't? And here again, we go to the body. And if I would say, and connecting with our intuition, and sometimes it's not clear for people what that means. So really, it's trusting your gut. And interestingly, Virgo is responsible, she rules the digestive system. So in this moon, we could connect with some physiological symptoms in the stomach, in the tummy, upset stomach, or feeling sick to your stomach in response to something that's happening in your work life or in your sort of day-to-day routine. So just see what happens there. And one thing worth noticing is that discernment and really evaluating our life is not the same as criticizing ourselves for how we are and what we do. And I guess the higher vibe of Virgo would come and say, we put this self-criticism on the sort of first point on the list of things that need to go under this moon, because this habit is not really getting us anywhere. It's not supporting our growth and it's not really moving us forward. If anything, it will sabotage at some point the effort that we're making. So just a note, discernment is not self-criticism. So how do we discern? I mentioned the body and the gut. So you may really check with yourself, how do I feel in my body in response to this? Yeah, I'm being asked this to do this, or I'm invited there but I'm actually tired. How do I feel my body? And actually I want to invite you to reflect, or maybe take these and reflect on them later, but it's some questions. Something like this: what if you let yourself listen to your sensitivities, to your bodily discomforts? What if you trusted your own tears enough to listen to them, to make real life changes to your schedule? What if you listen to your unhappiness, depression, anger, illness as signs that your own life is calling to you? What if it was possible to leave the mode of doing that which does not nourish you, that actually actively makes you unhappy? What if it was possible to let that go? And you know, when I invite you to reflect on these questions, you may notice immediately what may come up is, I can't do that, or the guilt of taking time for myself, or saying no to somebody, or not fulfilling your responsibilities, you're abandoning someone. So maybe immediately the ego, the superego, may produce ideas, excuses why it is not possible to do that. And it's really worth paying attention to that and almost preparing yourself for that, because that's the price. These feelings is the price we need to be willing to pay for freedom. We cannot simultaneously feel our own authority and connect with the body, and at the same time fulfill the expectations that are outside of us and that are not aligned with us. So be prepared to feel discomfort and guilt and maybe even shame, and make quite, I don't know how it's landing, and it may sound a little bit harsh, but what if you consider that this is actually a devotional practice, that you are to be devoted to your own life, to create this devotional commitment to yourself, to your body, to your life, to your truth, right? And you know, Virgo is all about service, being of service, and it's a beautiful expression, especially when it comes from a sense of fullness, a sense of wholehearted sort of wish to help and to be of service to others. But most of us, we're so depleted and stretched and overburdened with responsibilities and expectations, and excuse me, and my body's agreeing with what I'm saying. And it may actually, by doing things from the place of depletion, may create more resentment and a sense of not being reciprocated and a sense of being used. And these are hard feelings, but they are good feelings to become aware of, because only then we can think, okay, so now that I'm aware of that, what am I willing to do about that? How do I use this listening, this communication, this knowing that something is not right, something is not in sync? And so, so this, as much as the Virgo is of service to others, we sort of need to devote ourselves to us first. And it's like this metaphor of filling up your cup so you can share with others. Well, I would say you need to become so full of your awareness of yourself, of your sense of yourself, to the brim, that you overflow. And that which lands in the saucer is that can be shared with others. But you are to be full first. And it's not inviting you to just think about yourself, me first, and that's it, nothing else matters. No, it's actually a way of creating a little pause and filling yourself up fully with awareness and checking, how am I feeling? And am I feeling like I'm emptying out my cup, depleting, or am I actually filling it up? Am I expanding in this situation, in this relationship, in this conversation, or contracting? What's the actual impact? And this kind of listening, this kind of attention is an expression of devotion and love for yourself. So people say, I don't know how to love myself. Well, that's one way of really staying and extending that moment to feel yourself. And at first you may not feel anything, and you may quickly say, oh, I don't feel anything. But actually you need to become a bit fuller and stay a little bit longer in the space to feel something. And how do we bring this love and devotion to the body? That's another question that can be challenging to answer. And Marian Woodman says, by doing anything, any work with the body that is not based on the power over the body, So, you know, with these new routines, new moon, we may feel like starting new exercising, yoga, diet, healthy eating. If these things come from the place of wanting to improve yourself or whip yourself into change, then it's likely that the body will not respond, and at some point it will say no. But if we can do the same things from the place of devotion to the body, and we may not know how to love our bodies yet, but holding the intention of and the possibility of loving myself and my body, and yeah, I'm just looking at my notes here, because there was something about Clarissa Pinkola Estes also said that really was so powerful, about the body, how we treat our bodies as sometimes as enemy that doesn't want to sort of, that goes against our wishes, our efforts. And she says that the body is actually a buffer. And what does that mean? A buffer that takes all the hits and blows from life throughout all our life. It's like a shield for ourself, our psyche, that protects the psyche, the self, and takes and stores the feelings, the memories inside of its cells. So the body is really loyal and is like a companion, she says. Body is a companion that witnessed it all, your whole life, all that you've gone through. The body was always there. And it's so loyal. It may not feel like it, because it may bring up some symptoms, some illness. It may not want to lose weight, or it regains weight. It just does things that don't go with your wishes. What if we considered that these ways are actually a way of communicating by the body continuously? That the body is speaking, it's coming up with all these creative ways of drawing attention, saying something. And you know, Marion Woodman says that there's no other way. We can only approach the body from the place of love. There's no other way. And what she means by that is that the body, as this loyal companion, carries all our stories, our embodied stories. And when we create some sense of appreciation, some sense of recognition, some sense of loving, the body will start responding, and it may gradually bring up the things that it held for us, it carried, the pain, the rage, the memories. And in the environment of that kind of loving or intention of loving, there is there are conditions for the poison to leave the body, for the poison to be released, to be purified, to be purged. So then the body will respond and will be more in alignment with the mind, with the self. But this can only happen after we find a way to love and devote ourselves to the body, rather than doing things to it, against it, working against it. And then when the poison's released, we can make space for our expansive self-expression. And you may feel at some point like saying, this is me. These are my values. This is my body. Think of it what you want, but this body tells me everything I need to know. This is who I am. So, as I'm hearing the lawnmower in the background, I'm thinking it's time to wrap up. And I want to say, yeah, we're starting a season, a darker season. We're going into the darker months of the year. My goodness, I hope you can still hear me. And yes, I can hear you. And it's a really great time for self-reflection, for going inwards, for practicing this discernment, devotion, grounding in the body, finding the time to feel, expanding this moment and filling yourself up to your fullness, to the knowing. And it's good time at this new moon, as always, to set intentions that relate to all these. And I want to wish you a lovely, grounding moment of actually filling, I don't know what you're drinking, tea, coffee, whatever your drink of choice is, fill it up to the brim and have a saucer, and just metaphorically have a sense of what that is to be so full. Okay, off I go, because I think it's getting louder and louder. So see you next time. Bye.